Hey everybody, my name is Cole. This is The Average Cole, and I'm here today to tell you how to start a business. Some of the tips I want to be laying out today is what you need to do to legally start your business, where you need to go, how to avoid some scams when you're doing this, and a few other things that are nice to know along the way. Step one, when you're starting your business, you need to obviously have a name. If you don't have any kind of name idea, then there's several tools online that you can use that are free. You can also use ChatGPT or some other kind of AI service. But when it comes to businesses, there's four main types. There's an LLC, sole proprietorship, S corporation, and C corporation. And there's very distinct differences between those four. Most small businesses are going to be either a sole proprietorship or an LLC. So those are the two I'm going to focus on mainly today. To start your business, it depends on the type, but today we're going to be looking at if you started an LLC. A sole proprietorship is going to be even more simple than starting an LLC, but with an LLC, what you need to do is go to your state government's SCC website. So make sure it's a .gov website. Don't fall for some scam and Google start your LLC and pay $600 or $1,000 for someone to start your LLC for you, because it's not a very hard process. So let me give you an example. Let's just go to a random state, start Vermont LLC. So see the first couple results here, not that they're scams. ZenBusiness is legit, LegalZoom is legit, but you don't need to use these businesses. Vermont SCC, there we go. Make sure it's a .gov website. Business services, business filings, start a Vermont business, file online. What you're gonna have to do for an LLC is obviously have a business name. You'll have to register that business name. It'll need to be My Business LLC or whatever you come up with. It'll have to have LLC at the end of it if you want to be an LLC. And then you'll also have to have what's called a registered agent. And a registered agent is essentially, if you ever get sued, which I mean, most small businesses hopefully don't have to worry about this, but if you ever have to get any kind of legal documents or anything like that, they need to have a registered agent to where they know the address where they can deliver this stuff to. So a registered agent is just an address and a person who can receive legal documents on your or the business behalf. 9 times out of 10, you're going to want to just use yourself as a registered agent. But in most cases, using yourself as a registered agent does put your personal address and name on the internet. But if you do want to keep your information somewhat private, then you can use what's called a remote registered agent. There's services that you can buy to get a registered agent in your state, but I personally always just use myself as my own registered agent. You need to fill out a couple of forms. You need to make sure that the name is available, and if the name isn't available, then you just have to modify it a little bit. So if you want to use the name Kathy's Clothes and that's not available, then you can just use Kathy's New Clothes LLC as your legal business name. So after you go through your state site and create a registered agent as yourself or someone else and create your business name, you'll do a couple other filings. It's all an online process, but make sure it's on your local state's .gov website and not LegalZoom or ZenBusiness or one of these other places that charge you a bunch, because it's not that hard to do on your own. Depending on the state you're in, it's usually $50, $100, $150. There's some states where it is a little bit more expensive. It can be $200-$300 for an LLC filing. And if you're just starting out and you're a little bit of a cash crunch, you can always start as a sole proprietorship and then move to an LLC later on, or you can just jump an LLC and just be an S corp or C corporation later on. But a lot of times it's best to start as an LLC, just that way you get the little bit of protection from the get-go. After you create your LLC and get your legal business name, then you want to create an EIN number. And an EIN number is essentially a social security number for your business. So you have your social security number that's linked to you. It says who you are as a person. Your business also receives a social security number in the form of an EIN. And that is done through the federal government. So instead of through your state government where you just created your LLC, you need to go to the federal government website. So if you just type in create EIN, There's going to be a lot of scammy places there to do that for you, but this is completely free, so you don't need to have anyone else do it for you. You want to create your employer identification number, and the IRS, their website, the federal government, their website is a little confusing and a little weird, but right here you can apply for EIN, begin application now. What type of business are you? We're going to be an LLC. How many members? This is going to vary depending on your exact situation, but 9 times out of 10, it's going to be 1. What state are you located in? We just did Vermont. Why are you applying for this EIN? Today, we're going to be hitting starting a new business. Okay, so you need to put your social security number here and your name. Well, anyways, you just fill this out and you put in all your legal business information that you just used when you created your LLC, and then it will generate an EIN number. It is a total of 9 digits. It'll be something something dash and then 7 more digits, and that is going to be your EIN number. Screenshot when you get to the end of that, screenshot that and keep it in your records. Download, they'll send you a couple forms through your email that you use to sign up, and also just download it and save it somewhere because you do want to remember your EIN number, obviously. Now that you've done that, we've created an LLC and we've got an EIN number. Now you have a legal business name, you've got a legal business address through your registered agent and through the government. You've created an EIN number, so now your business is an actual entity with the government. It is a thing now because you've created a social security number for it through the form of an EIN. And then the only other step would be if your local government requires some kind of a local business license. This is not the case for everywhere, but where I just moved from in Virginia, you were required to have a business license at the local level. So you had to pay a fee every year for that. You need to check with your local government, usually town clerk, or if you have a commissioner of revenue, it's usually the Treasury Department, somewhere along there, part of the government that wants to collect the money. They're going to be the ones who tax you on your business. So it's essentially a tax on your business. And you have to fill out a couple of forms just saying your business EIN number, location, what you're doing. Sometimes depending on what you're doing and where you are, you'll have to go through zoning. But where I was in Virginia, we had to do that, but it wasn't anything serious. You go to the zoning office and they're basically saying like, oh yeah, you're not going to be putting an Amazon factory in your backyard in a residential area. And then they, check a few boxes and you're all good and all set. And then you have to pay in my county, it was a $30 minimum to get your license, but that's not the case everywhere. And if you do want to start as a sole proprietorship and not as an LLC, then it's even simpler because you don't have to pay for the LLC. You can just go in, create an EIN number, and then do whatever you need to at the local level if you have to do anything like that. Hopefully this helps you get your business started. This channel is all about helping small and medium-sized business owners to start and grow their business. If you found any of this helpful, then it would really mean a lot to me if you could like and subscribe to the channel. Also, make sure you check out the links in the description. It'll have a lot more information and some useful tools that you can use. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Cole. This is The Average Cole. Peace.